Greetings, 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 greetings. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, world. This is Chief Kalanago Flying Eagle. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is having an amazing day. It's such a beautiful time to be alive. Okay, let me just make sure that I have, let me make sure I'm good on Facebook in terms of audio while I give you guys some time to tune into this live build. Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. All right, Facebook audio is good. Let me just make sure I'm good on YouTube. All righty. Let me make sure I'm good on YouTube. Give me 1 second. While I'm doing this, I want to acknowledge the great spirit, universal intelligence, the great I am, universal all, what, we often call God. I want to acknowledge the essence of that, existence. I also, definitely want to thank my ancestors. I continuously reach out to them, ask them for guidance and protection, and knowing that they are with me, I am them and they are me. And that's what it is. Reach out to them. All right. Also, I'm definitely in gratitude for, my ancestors guiding me and protecting me every single day. I feel their presence and it's a beautiful thing. I know that any weapons formed against me will not prosper, and anyone who tries to hurt me intentionally in any form, shape, or fashion, I do not forgive. I ask my ancestors to deal with them accordingly in the most harsh and brutal way. I do not forgive. If you're going to sit around and conspire to hurt me in any form or fashion, then you have to pay your karma. So I don't subscribe to turning the other cheek like that. So I just want to put that out there because there are a lot of ill intent people, all right, that are on Facebook or wherever, just in life period, and they do things intentionally to hurt people, and then they go ask for forgiveness from this imaginary sky daddy, and they think everything is going to be okay. But me personally, I don't subscribe to that. So I want to make sure that you pay that karma. Okay. So that retribution, you got to pay that. Now, with that being said, I was sent here to do a job. Okay. I was given a purpose. All right. And any man or woman that lives his life or her life without knowing their purpose, then they haven't lived at all. Okay. You see, I know what my purpose is, and I'm serving my purpose. All right. And the information that I give you, I'm always asking you to research the information. All right. It is really that simple. Research the information. Okay. So lately, I like I told y'all before, I took a very long break from doing, these kind of videos because of the personal attacks that people come with when you're teaching and speaking truth that's contrary to what they are teaching. You see, and my thing is, why not let your documentation speak for yourself? Why not let your documentation be a rebuttal to what I'm teaching? Why do you have to get personal? You see what I'm saying? So lately, I've been getting attacked. All right, not physically, but verbally. Even now doing videos again, entire videos about Chief Kalanago, all right, from certain Moors. Now, I'm going to repeat that. I have nothing against anybody. All I'm here to do is just teach the truth of the wild Indians that they found in the Americas, my ancestors. That's all I'm here to do. You see what I'm saying? And it seems like a lot of people have problems with that because I know what happened. Okay, it's not just through extensive research, but a lot of that came through meditation. A lot of that came through my ancestors talking to me. I was even made fun of. Oh, well, he said he talked to his ancestors. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, they corresponded with me about 2 hours ago when I was taking a nap. You feel me? I'm on a whole different level with this. And this is not to brag or be, braggadocious. That's not what it is. I'm just letting you know you're going to learn who I am. You feel me? So all the personal attacks is not necessary. If you don't like what I'm talking about, then do videos and, just spread your truth. I'm spreading the truth of my people. And for some reason, everybody wants us to be them when we have our own identity. You see what I'm saying? And my ancestors sent me to set the record straight. I'm even pulling information from the grave, because what I'm about to share with you this evening, okay, that information is from a documentary from 1976, taking you back to 1880, between 1880 and 1914. Because I keep telling y'all, I got so much information. I pulled out my drive with information of between 15 to 20 years ago. And who would have thought it would have come in handy? I just came across these things all years ago, all right, when I was on my journey, growing in my growth. And those things was given to me. And I bought a huge drive, okay? And I have it on a drive. You feel me? I have it on a drive. And that drive, you have to plug it into the wall, like, electric wall, okay, to get power to get the information from that drive. I'm talking about the thing looked like a microwave. That's how much information I have. So why? And that's why I told my people, okay, our last hurdle is the Moors, because they were one of the first hurdles we had to deal with. So it's nothing personal. I'm just speaking the truth. So y'all could come with all the attacks that you want. All I'm telling you is be very mindful how you come up against me. You feel what I'm saying? And this is not a threat. I'm just letting you know I'm going to put you in the hands of the same ancestors you think I'm not talking to. And then you'll see exactly what happened. Many have come up against me, and go see what happened to them. I didn't have to speak ill of anyone. I didn't have to touch anybody. I just put them in the hands of my ancestors, and go see where they're at now. Nothing good is happening in their life. Okay? I'm anointed. So y'all better be careful. And that's all I'm going to say, because I'm not going to give y'all my energy. All right? I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to continue to teach. And if you want to debunk anything I say, just do your own videos. This is my platform. I have a right to teach the information that was given to me. And all the truth is going to come to light. And I'm going to tell the American Aborigines, okay, aka eventually who was called American Indians. I'm going to give y'all a prophecy, okay? The day will come when the entire world will bow to our feet, not because we are greater than them, but because they finally are going to ask for forgiveness, okay, for what they have done to us. I promise you that. Watch it happen. I don't know if I will be around to see it manifest, but my videos will be around for a very long time, because every video that I do on YouTube or Facebook, I put it on my drive, okay? And I'm going to pass that down to my generations so they could tell the truth, so they will know how great their dad or their grandfather, their great-great-grandfather was. Because y'all will never know who I am until I'm gone. Just remember that. But it's going to happen. I promise you that. Because they sent me here to do what I'm doing. And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. So right now, I'm about to go into a documentary. All right. I'm going to, exercise fair use, because I don't have the legal right to the sound or the video or the photography in the video. However, I'm going to exercise my right to fair use just for, educational purposes. All right. So once again, like I said, I have nothing against Native Americans. I have nothing against Moors. I have nothing against Israelites. All right. Y'all tell y'all truth. Can we tell our truth without the attacks? That's all I'm just saying. And that's what people do. When they cannot challenge what you say, they want to come, they make it personal. This is not personal to me when it comes to anybody else. It's personal to me because my ancestors were done wrong. And they sent me to restore their legacy. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm doing. So y'all could talk as much as you want. It don't bother me because you're only attacking the flesh. My spirit is already a victory. You see what I'm saying? I'm immortal, family, because I know who I am. And that's the problem. Too many people are caught up in the flesh. I'm not coming to you in the flesh. No, I'm speaking to you through the flesh. But I'm an immortal being, bruh. So y'all cannot do anything with me or to me. You see me? You can't do that. I'm one man that have no fear. You feel me? Y'all take the physical body, Chief Kalinago will live forever. That's what you don't understand. So humble yourselves, man. Let everybody have a right to self-identify. If we choose not to be called Moors or Israelites, that's us. We deserve that right. Don't try to take it from us with threats and attacks. That is your truth. Let us speak ours. If our truth doesn't coincide with yours, it's okay. It's okay to be who you are and allow us to be who we say we are. And let's just respect each other and live in peace. It's really that simple. But no, y'all got to come with the colonized mind that your forefathers had. Nah, they got to be us. We got to be in control. Ain't nobody going to control me, fam. I did not come here to be controlled. I came here to live my life and experience it as a manifestation of the characteristics of the Great Spirit in the flesh. In other words, let me break it down to you. Chief Kalinago is a God walking in man's form. So if you don't know who you are, that's on you. But I'm not the flesh, fam. I'm cut from a different cloth. I keep telling y'all that. And y'all gonna watch and hear my story unfold. Mark my words for that. So I'm done with that. All right. So let me get into the lesson that I'm gonna give y'all this evening. I'm gonna play a documentary. All right. I'm gonna play a documentary, and I'm telling my people, this is just the beginning. Okay. The more of us that's going to step up, I'm telling you, the harder, okay, the world is going to come at us again, because we have that one final battle to fight. Because from the very beginning, that's what they had to do. They had to come together to get rid of the wild Indians that they call the savages. Okay. Now, they didn't get rid of us. They just made us extinct with education and on paper. That's all they did. But we are still here. They're living through you and they're living through me. Keep that in mind. So we have to go through one more big hurdle while we are stepping back to claim our birthright. It's ours, but nobody else's. And America will never be great again until the American Aborigines are restored. Mark my words. So every tongue will confess and every knee will bow. And I promise you, it wouldn't be to a sky daddy. It will be to the original people of this land, because our ancestors' energy is rising, and that's what they're afraid of. You might beat this flesh, but you will not beat the spirit of Chief Kalinago. And y'all could question who I am or what I am, or whatever y'all got to say. It doesn't bother me, because I know I was sent. Listen, I've had elders hit me up. I don't even know. Hit me up and say, Chief, I saw you in a vision talking to the Pope. Okay? I don't know if y'all know about Chief Hiawatha. Okay? An elder from Jamaica sent a message to one of my spiritual guides and gave her a message for me that Chief Hiawatha sent about the buffalo. So if y'all don't know who I am, y'all going to learn who Chief Kalinago is. Y'all going to learn. All right, let's get into this lesson, okay? Let me share my screen. Keep telling y'all, man, y'all fighting spiritualities and powers, and I know that's what I'm fighting too. So I'm coming in the spirit, not the flesh, because I know the flesh is weak. The flesh is limited, all right? But trust me, my spirit I'm a spirit warrior when I choose to be. Okay? And y'all gonna learn the hard way. So let me go ahead and share this with y'all. Okay, guys? Like I said, well, first, before I do that, I want to go ahead and I do have to play a little bit of that, and then I got to go ahead and talk about fair use. Okay, I have to do that. All right, so give me 1 second here before I even share that. All right, give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. And that's a free service of the local public library. Like I said, I've had that for years, okay, on the drives, but I'm going to play a little bit of that first, and then I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to talk about, you know, the fair use. All right. All right. And this is Destination America. All right. And it's going to tell you the story about the Italians. Now, you know, I'm just giving you a synopsis of what you're going to hear. All right. And just to show you, I'm going to take you back, guys. Okay. Take you back into a time that a lot of us didn't experience. A lot of us didn't know. But this man is telling his story, and they are telling their story. The Italians, when they were not considered white. And you see, the ancestors knew what they were doing when they gave me that over 15 years ago. I didn't know in 2021 it was gonna be relevant, but I had this stuff on a drive. All right, and I almost lost my drive. You feel me? But thank my ancestors for that. But what I'm saying is this: I'm gonna take y'all back into an era to open up your mind once again, to solidify and prove to you the things that I'm telling you, and I'm not just making things up. Okay. I have proven to you who the American Aborigines are, and that America is the old world. I've given you that in literature, prehistoric documents. I've given you that with prehistoric books. I've given you that with scientific evidence. I've given you that with what they call those people, geologists, whatever you call them, those people that, you know, archaeologists, pardon me. I've given you those documents as well. Now I'm going to give you a documentary from the Italians telling you about when they came into the Americas, how they were treated. They were not considered white. And when the video get to about 12 minutes and about 28, 29 seconds, he's going to talk about the natives. So when y'all think I'm making things up, I don't just make these things up, family. Okay? I don't just make it up. So let me stop talking and play this thing, and you guys enjoy. Let's go to the movies. And just so y'all know, I only have part 1, okay? But I got what I wanted from it, so that's beautiful. Now I got to stop here. I just got to go ahead real quick. All right, guys, and just talk about fair use real quick. Pardon the interruption. I just have to. Okay. Let me see. Is Windows stop sharing? All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna come back to y'all just in case. I just want to be safe and go ahead and just inject fair use in there. All right. I have to do that because I do not own the rights to you know, the footage. So let me just go ahead and put that in there real quick so YouTube wouldn't mess with me. Okay.
Fair use.
All right. Share my screen. Go ahead and share. Okay. Here we are.
Fair use. Fair use. Fair use.
Okay, I had to do that, okay, because I'm using this just for educational purposes. All right, so let us get into that. I do apologize about the interruption again. Okay, so let me go here, and I will be pausing the video in between just to do a little bit of narration, but I'll let it play. Okay, I'll let it do its thing.
I saw the poverty over there in Italy. And the way they lived, it's not for me because I was born different. They didn't even have toilet paper back there. They didn't know what wrapping paper was.
All right, you hear that? Like I said, I'm gonna go through while he's doing his own narration. I'm just gonna interrupt, but not to interrupt the story per se, but kind of just solidify what I've been telling y'all about what was happening across the world. Okay, how people were living. All right, and why they were sent here. Because when we had been told about his story, all we know is about American story, and we don't know what's happening around the world. And that's why I had to go through all that information, all right, to bring you to where we're at today. Okay, so you heard him. They didn't even have toilet paper. They didn't know what it was. Okay, and we're talking about in the 1800s. All right.
I wanted to buy a bunch of bananas, and my cousin told me, then don't buy that many. I says, why? She says, well, we could buy a banana and cut it in two and give half to one person, half to another. I said, well, in America, we don't do that. We buy a bunch of them here, 10, 12. In America, you have everything you want.
Whereabouts are you from, then?
Augusta, Catania.
Oh, yeah.
That's about 4 hours away from where your father comes from. Right. Not me. I was born here, though.
Oh, your fault.
Right. Well, do you think I'm an American here?
Mamma, sono tanto felice perché ritorno da te. La mia canzone mi dice che il tuo giorno per te.
Fisherman's Wharf, San Francisco, California.
Vivere lontano perché mamma, solo per te la mia canzone vola.
This was nothing but Italians here. 90%. This was Italian headquarters here. They used to call it Little Italy.
Queste parole d'amore che mi sospira il mio cuore, forse non si usano più.
Most of the wharf in San Francisco is still worked by the Italians, as it has been since the turn of the century.
My father came over here in 1890. He was married here and divorced in 1900. In 1902, he sent for another wife in Italy to come here and married her. She was a widow. In those days, they used to send photographs from Italy over here, and if the fellow liked the person, he would call for her. If he didn't like the picture, he wouldn't send for her. That's how they did it. Everything was like they had in Italy, that the wagon had come selling potatoes on the street. The bread man would sell you bread from the wagon, and wine and so forth. We made our own wine, and that's how we lived.
Now, let me pause here for a second. You heard what he said, right? In the early 1800, in the late 1800, in 1890, all right, when, you know, his father was here, right? His father had to marry, and then I'm going to decode this for y'all, okay? Had to marry, and then divorced and sent for a wife in Italy. Well, let me explain to you what that means. In other words, he had to marry an American woman, okay? Because he had to be naturalized. All right? So after his father got situated, his father divorced the woman and now sent for an Italian woman. All right? Let me break this down for y'all, because that's what was being done back in the days. All right? To be an American, you had to marry or get into the womb of an Aborigine woman or somebody who was naturalized or become a United States citizen. But even before the United States, okay, even before the 13 colonies, it was just straight out, you had to be involved with an American Aborigine, aka an American Indian woman, to have any claims on this soil, okay?
The same tradition they had in Italy was here. We didn't have much, but whatever we had here was more than they had over there.
Emigration became a part of everyday life in Italy, a fact that was echoed in many popular songs. This one describes the desolation of the countryside as it appears to someone left behind.
Nella campagna non ci sta nessuno. Addio, addio amore, casca e si toglie. L'olivo casca, l'albero e le foglie.
Back there, the poverty and the misery that they had was very difficult to live. It was hard to get food, and it was hard to get any fish. They were all fishermen in that little locality there, and they thought there was more of an advantage in this country than there was in that country, and that's what made them come over here.
Io parto per l'America, parto sul bastimento. Io vado a
Over 4 million Italians poured into the United States between 1880 and 1914.
Now you hear that? Over 4 million Italians came into the United States between 1880 and 1914. Now, I don't know if you guys know about Ellis Island in New York. Ellis Island has well-documented manifestos of immigrants coming into the Americas for a very, very, very long time. That's why they're able to trace their ancestry, okay, to whence they came. You feel me? So I'm breaking this down to y'all again. There is no record of all the millions and millions, 10, 12, 15, 20 millions of so-called black people coming into the Americas. There's no record of that. There's no ship. There's no manifesto. I'm just letting y'all know. Okay? Let's dig a little deeper. Let's go.
In 1907 alone, over 250,000 arrived. They came to escape slums, bad landlords, corrupt laws, and the sheer poverty of the soil. 1 young Italian in 10 left for the New World.
The desire was to come for 3 or 4 years, save enough money to return to Italy and to buy 3 or 4 acres of land so that we would no longer be dependent on the exploiting landholders. But then, of course, it didn't work out that way. The steamship companies had agents in New York, and we were just simply actually shipped as laborers to New York, and from there distributed all over the country.
Now you hear that? They were shipped. He didn't say we came. They were shipped. In other words, they were indentured servants shipped into the Americas, okay? And what? They had and shipped all over the Americas. Okay? All over the Americas. Now listen, we're about to get to the 12-minute and 30-second mark of the video. Pay attention. Pay attention, please.
Angelo Pellegrini, now a professor of English, was 10 years old when he came to America in 1913. With the rest of his family, he was to join his father, who had already settled on the West Coast. His father was working in a frontier lumber town in the state of Washington, over 3,000 miles from Ellis Island. The family still had in front of them as long a journey as they'd already made from Italy.
When we left Ellis Island and went to the railway station to board the train, we were greeted with the news that the place to which we were going, McCleary, Washington, did not exist. Incredible, you see. It was a frontier town, recently established, unincorporated. It wasn't on the maps. It wasn't on the time schedules. There is no such place. Well, Mother would show them the address in Father's beautiful handwriting. McCleary, Washington. It's there. So they decided that they would ship us to a central point in the state of Washington. We were tagged, the address was pinned to us, and they shipped us. The journey across the continent took about 7 or 8 days. In crossing the continent, we had glimpses of the promised land. We saw literally mountains of apples on the ground under the trees, huge mounds of apples, and apparently no one was gathering them.
All right, let me pause here for a second. You heard him talk about the promised land. Well, family, let me explain that to you again. Okay, the Americas was always considered the promised land to everybody across the seas. That was the promise. Come here or go here, work as indentured servants, and we'll promise you X and X amount of land. All right? It even speaks a bit of it in the Bible. Now, I want y'all to see why I had to go through all what I had to go through to bring the pieces together. Because it's not just one piece of the story, it's different pieces of the puzzle to make it the picture whole. Okay? Just wanted to kind of interrupt there a little bit.
When I saw those and remembered that in Italy, I once was nearly beaten to death by a peasant whose single apple tree I had raided and got just one apple, and he chased me and flailed me for one lousy apple. I said to myself, ci siamo, we have arrived.
Now you heard what he said, right? He said, listen, in Italy, he went to get one apple because he was hungry from a peasant's yard, and the man wanted to kill him. But in the Americas, apples was just all over. People was walking on apples. And then when he saw that, he said, oh, yes, I have arrived, okay, in the promised land.
The Pellegrinis did find the town of McCleary and their father, who was working as a lumberjack. With his job went a house and land. To begin with, the New World fulfilled its promise.
Soon we were all at work. Land, we had all that we could till. We didn't have to buy it.
You hear that? Soon we were at work. Land, we had to till. We didn't have to buy it. Once again, family, pay attention. We didn't have to buy it. Okay? It was given away.
Deed meant nothing. I mean, for once.
Let's play that again. He said a deed meant nothing. A deed.
With the New World fulfilled its promise.
Soon we were all at work. Land, we had all that we could till. We didn't have to buy it. A deed meant nothing.
Okay, a deed meant nothing. And I'm not going to apologize for stopping and interrupting and explaining this, right? So let me tell you another way our ancestors were tricked. Even if we were on the land, in our culture, all right, we didn't think that we owned the land. We said that the land owned us. So they decided now, because that's what we taught, they took it upon themselves to say, oh, well, they don't own the land. So now they created legal documents to say, well, with deeds, all right, and then passed over the deeds. You heard what he said, right? Deeds in those days, deeds meant nothing. In other words, the contracts that they gave us when our ancestors became sharecroppers, those deeds didn't mean anything. They violated those deeds. And I have to break it down.
For once, you see, for once in our lives, we knew the extraordinary delight of turning a sod, and every shovelful was a loaf for us.
The people were not so generous. The Italians spoke little English, they had darker skins and Latin ways. All this led to conflicts with the rest of the population.
We were actually the first South Europeans that they had ever seen. These miserable natives, as I called them, because...
Pay attention. And I'm not, once again, I'm not here to disrespect anyone. I'm just giving you the truth. Hear what this man, hear how he break down the natives, all right? Not because they're natives, I'm agreeing that they are miserable, but hear what he says after that. Let me bring it back a little further. Let's go again.
Conflicts with the rest of the population.
We were actually the first South Europeans that they had ever seen. These miserable natives, as I called them, because many of them had just come, maybe a generation before we. Maybe they were second generation immigrants.
You hear that? Here's the truth, family, from a 1976 documentary. This man talking about his family in 1880. He says what? These natives, okay, came here a generation or two. Okay, they were second generation immigrants. You see what I'm saying? Don't matter how we slice it and dice it. Let these natives come tell me how they became American Aborigines. Like I told y'all before, these natives you see here calling themselves Indians right now, they were not here in the early 1700s. They were not here in the 1600s. But I'm going to play this again. Just that one part. So everybody's hating on these natives, right? The man is telling the truth. Okay, let's play this again.
All this led to conflicts with the rest of the population.
We were actually the first South Europeans that they had ever seen. These miserable natives, as I called them, because many of them had just come, maybe a generation before we. Maybe they were second generation immigrants. Many of them had just come. We were actually the first South Europeans that they had ever seen. These miserable natives, as I called them, because many of them had just come, maybe a generation before we. Maybe they were second generation immigrants, the Norwegians and Irish and Germans.
You hear that? Norwegians, Irish, and German. I promise you, if you go do all their DNA tests, all right, and you compare that to Norwegians, Irish, and Germans, I promise you, that's where you will find their roots. The majority of them. Talking about the Bering Strait, 20, 30,000. Who are you trying to fool with that? Not me. I know better.
And yet, they soon made us understand that the attitude of the Native American, as we call them, toward us was roughly what the attitude of the American has been toward the blacks. We were forbidden, for example, we young men were forbidden to associate with American girls. And if one ventured to go out with an American girl, number one, she would have to be of a rather poor white trash derivation. Otherwise, she wouldn't be going with him. And then, being such, she would have a brutal brother who would clobber the hell out of this wop.
Now, pay attention, okay? Even if certain demographics were being called so-called white at that time, Italians were not considered white. So even with them, even with trying to be with, like he said, what they would consider poor white trash girl, they wasn't even good enough to date that type of woman. Okay, so all I'm just saying is this: when these people running around here with their noses up and turning up their nose at us like we ain't worth nothing and they're above us and they're better than us, know where they're coming from. Okay, know their history, know their story, and the lack of gratitude that they have for us. This is our land. This is our motherland. We have always been here. We didn't come. But they had to take our identity. And even up to this present day, try to teach our people who we are. And a lot of them will not let go being black or African American.
In 1891, a mob in New Orleans murdered 11 Italians. The chief of police had been assassinated and a number of Italians were brought to trial. They were acquitted, but local people were convinced that the mafia had threatened the jury. They took the law into their own hands, broke into the jailhouse, shot some of the Italians and lynched the rest.
So once again, you see, it wasn't just the so-called Negro that was being lynched. You see, nobody's telling the truth. Nobody want to tell the truth because they want us to think, well, no, it was only us. No, it wasn't only us. You feel me? This was a system. It was a business. And no, the mob didn't start off with the Italians. They were not the first mafias. Okay?
The country, feeling ran high against Italians. The New York Times said of the incident,
"Our own rattlesnakes are as good citizens as they. Our own murderers are men of feeling and nobility compared to them."
The Italians were the most despised of the immigrant groups from Europe. They had to take the worst jobs. They were the rag pickers.
Okay? The Italians were considered the worst of the immigrants. Worse than the Irish, worse than the Germans, even worse than the so-called blacks that came here from Ireland. I'm talking about the black Irish and the black Scottish and the black British and some of the different parts of Africa, mostly West Africa, because a lot of these people did not come further. It was too expensive to bring them from the farthest lands in Africa. So a few of them came from West Africa, what we call Negro de Guinea. All right? But they considered the Italians to be the worst of the worst. Right here in the Americas, before they got the title of being white, because they fought for that. They had to retaliate to fight for that status because it had nothing to do with the color of skin like y'all think it is today. Okay?
They were the shoe shine boys. They were the knife sharpeners. They were the organ grinders. They were peddlers. Some were almost beggars. Some Americans claimed that their country was becoming a dumping ground for Europe's rejects. They saw the Italians as parasites, stealing food from the honest native. It was hardly the welcome of a promised land.
I remember times that my father and mother would sit and watch us, and we'd look at my father and we'd see tears in his eyes. We didn't have what to eat. It was that bad. Okay. So, really, I think he died of a broken heart because of thinking what America held for him, and it was not there. And him feeling that, I believe in my heart, that he was Italian. And in New York at that time, Italians were not accepted as people. And very frankly, people call them non-whites. WAP.
Now, check this out. Italians were not considered people. Okay? And it wasn't just Italians, a lot of people. Just like this present day, Italians are considered people. Why? Because they got the status of white now. You hear that? He said, oh, we were considered non-whites. Even up to this day, so-called black people in Africa, so-called blacks and so-called African Americans, they are not considered people. But when I talk to my people and I try to teach them, a lot of them don't want to pay attention. You see what I'm saying? And you wonder why all this is happening to you in the streets with the police and all these legal battles that you are having. Why? Because you are not people. You are not considered people. The Constitution said we the people, not we black or African American or white or no. The status makes you the people. Well, the people came first. The people came first, and then it was broken down into different statuses, where certain status will continue to be called the people, but others will continue to remain dead in law.
And in New York at that time, Italians were not accepted as people. And very frankly, people call them non-whites. WAP, Guinea, Dago.
Murderers, criminals, members of the Black Hand, the Mafia. That was the view of the Italians. The San Francisco Chronicle declared,
"The duty of the United States is clear in this matter. We must lock the gates and shut and bar them in the face of these conspirators and criminals. Send them back as fast as they come. And if Italy does not like it, let her make the best of it."
I grew up in an Italian ghetto, and the bad aspects were that we really were identified as criminals. When I was a child, people believed that all the criminals were Italian. I think the point, however, is that in many ways you would find Italians are pushed into organized crime. Members of minority groups who come to the United States are really cut off from the normal avenues of making it in American society. They can't get ahead as well as everyone else. They don't have the same avenues to get good jobs as other individuals. Now, organized crime serves as the first ladder on a very interesting way of getting out of the ghetto.
All right, family, once again, what story does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like the so-called African-American story? Don't give us opportunities, don't give us jobs, and then the life of crime seems to be the way out. Hence, rappers, okay, for them to be professional rappers and be millionaires, they have to live a life of crime. Let me know how many bodies you could talk about you caught in a music video. Let me know how many female dogs that you slept with, because they like calling themselves female dogs. Family, it is nothing new under the sun. I keep telling y'all this. It is nothing new under the sun. It's the system that was put in place to do that. This had nothing to do with the color of skin. It was about the have and the have-nots. It was about business, commerce, which we didn't even partake in the Americas before these colonizers came. We had a barter system. I got mangoes, you got apples. I give you mangoes, you give me apples, and everybody's happy. Now, does it mean that we didn't have internal little fights? We did, but it was settled or not settled. But the respect was always there. If we couldn't do a peace pipe, which is the exchange of a peace pipe and smoking to create a truce, then we stayed out of each other's way. Okay? That was our culture.
Francis Yanni has written extensively on organized crime and the origins of the mafia.
What did happen is that the Italians, the Sicilians, did bring with them this notion of banding together in families for protection.
You hear that? What the Italians and the Sicilians did, they came with the idea to band each other. With band. Remember I told y'all how things happen in the Americas? You had families. Then families became clans. Okay? Then clans became bands. Okay? Well, now, families became bands, and bands became clans, and clans became nations, because they had to come together to make it. Okay? And that's what we have to do. But too many of us, okay, too much in the ego, too much hatred, too much animosity, too much jealousy. So how do you think we're going to come together if we don't band together so that we could get our respect? But just listen up here for a second.
For 1,000 years, Sicily was occupied by wave after wave of foreign invaders. To survive, the Sicilians formed underground movements to harass and fight their oppressors.
All right. For thousands of years, the Sicilians, Italians, that area in Spain, they were invaded. Guess who the invaders was? So-called black people. And guess who the invaders, so-called black people, were? I don't want to call no names because I don't want nobody to say I'm attacking anybody. But I'm going to let the video play for itself.
Secrecy, cunning, and vengeance became almost a way of life. Sicily bred the mafia.
Okay, so now with that being said, for them to protect themselves, they had to band together and say, nah, if you touch one of us, we got to touch one of you. And that's how the mafia was formed, by the Sicilians. Okay?
In Sicilian villages, any festival is an occasion to celebrate the island's clannish, sometimes violent traditions. I am a Sicilian, says the storyteller. A man insulted my wife. He has to die.
You hear that? The Sicilian said, that's a documentary in 1976. He said, listen, I'm a Sicilian. A man touched my wife. He got to die. You see what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of us men, we went wrong. Yes, we were beaten. We were overshadowed, and our women had to step up. But we allowed the system to beat our women and just watched. No, I'm not saying it happened all the time, but in today's day and age, I see them doing it to our women in the streets, and we have our men videotaping. You think that could have been a Sicilian? You think that could have been an Italian? I don't care how much police would have been there. It would have been a problem. They made us weak. Now, they're taking it further and got our men wearing panties now. So y'all think it's a game. This is not a game, man. This is war. Okay?
Broid is a traditional tale of vengeance for a wrong done to the family.
this has developed also a very ritualistic code of justice. It's really a very strong sense of honor centered always in the family. It's most famous in Sicily as the vendetta, the idea that if someone injures someone in my family, I am required, I am bound to do something to some member of your family.
You hear that? That was the law. If you did something to my family, I am bound by law, my law, okay, the laws of the universe, to do something to your family. Not go on, on news, get a few $1 million and cry, and Jesus is good and Jesus will forgive. No, okay? That was forced on people. You feel me? That's what men do. They protect their family. They protect their women. They protect their children from any enemy. I don't care what they look like.
Families have literally been wiped out, down to males as young as 11 years of age as a result of this idea. In Sicily, when someone carries out a ritualistic murder of this sort, his notion is, it had to be done. I was merely the instrument of doing it. It had to be done because my family was insulted.
The caraccieri are a familiar sight at Sicilian festivals. Their hand-painted carts are covered with scenes of bloody conflict from the island's history. They celebrate violent resistance to unjust oppression. This tradition traveled with the emigrants to America. An influential member of the Californian Italian community describes the process.
Now, what happened when the immigration started? They landed in New York, New Orleans. Now, they were victim of the same oppression. They couldn't speak. They started calling the Dago. They started giving the hardest jobs with a very little pay. Workers in the subways, if they marked it, what's your name? Lombardi, $2. What's your name? McAllister, $5. Same work, same place. And the little immigrant, he can't speak. You don't know the laws of the countries. You don't know where to go. He goes to some place and they look at it and says, well, it's a little Dago, leave him alone. So he goes to some friends who has a little power, who has a little knowledge, who hasn't been there before him. See, like in Tennessee, that immigrants, they come to me, they come to an older immigrant who knows what the Will Glenn produces. It's good for shrimp beans, it's good for this. Shall I buy away? He consults with someone of his own because he can trust him. So he goes to this man who has been there before him and he has a little bit of prestige. He says, look what happened to me. What can I do? The man says, okay, we'll fix it. And they fix it.
You hear that? When they had a problem, the new ones that came, they went to somebody who was already in the community. Okay? Somebody that he could trust, his own. You see what I'm saying? His own. Family, those are videos I have on drives. There's no link to this. That's why I keep telling y'all I cannot put no links to this. I have this on a drive, stuff I've had for almost 20 years. This is on drives. So there's no link. Okay? But the point is, they went to the elders and say, listen, I got a problem. This is this. He said, listen, don't worry. We will fix it. Okay? We will fix it. Because they could trust their own. But not with a lot of our people these days. You see what I'm saying? Because we have learned not to trust each other. We were taught not to trust each other. We cannot stand for each other. We cannot defend each other. We cannot stand in honor of each other. We lost that code. You see what I'm saying? We lost that code. It's Destination America.
So, but the Irish had the same trouble. People from Poland, they had more or less the same discrimination. But
even the Irish, the Polish had the same discrimination. Okay?
Action was different because they didn't have an experience to do it otherwise. This is the way they knew it. Fight in the street, bloody nose, end up in jail. The Sicilian don't want to end up in jail. He want to get away with it.
we've seen the mafia here. We've had it here. But to call them mafias, I wouldn't call them mafias, because right here in 1920, we had 325 crab boats, and they had an association, and these Sicilians all agreed with this association to go crabbing, which was our livelihood. And if the union said unload 1 sack of crabs, that meant for everybody. But if some guy would unload 2 sacks in the night, and we found out about it, he didn't unload any more sacks. He was finished. And they'd have him floating down a river, because they felt if there's a piece of bread, we're all gonna eat it.
You hear that? That was the code. They looked out for each other. Okay? If they got 2 sacks of crabs, that was for everybody. If they got the sacks of crab, and then one person, the person who caught it, say, hey, you know what? There was only one sack of crab, and they found out, he would have been floating down the river. Because it was for everybody.
Now, you ain't gonna eat the whole loaf. No way. And that's the way it went. I've seen many men stabbed in this locality. In this locality where we're taking this picture now was nothing but lumberyard and dumps. I used to hunt birds there and so forth. And many times we'd go fishing with my father, was on a Saturday or Sunday. And I would see a man laid in the street, maybe he was stabbed to death, and my father would hit a sick kick in the rear, keep him moving. You didn't see nothing, you don't know nothing.
So they used the same method that they were using there, underground, and try to make it justice of their own. See what the regular expression was, take the law in their own hands.
Organized crime became automatically linked with Italians.
Or just so y'all know, there's a little bit of, graphic, pictures in there. So if you have children, whatever, just so you know, okay? I'm just letting y'all know, all right?
The movies, the newspapers, the barroom jokes have hammered home the message. It was not always fair, but America was a promised land for crime as for everything else, and some Italians came well equipped to profit from it. But if they ever had a monopoly, it didn't last. By the time Las Vegas was a notorious mob haunt in the late 1940s, there were plenty of non-Italians who found that crime didn't pay forever. Las Vegas has become the gambling capital of the world. Just as the Italians can't stop being identified with organized crime, neither can Las Vegas itself.
People, as long as there are people, will always link Vegas or gambling with organized crime. And there is no way that you're going to tell them anything different. And I know what they're getting at. Have you seen any Italian hoods around? Or is any of them around here? How did you get your job? I earned my job. I worked hard for my job. And I think I came a long way in the 10 years that I'm here. As far as organized crime or anything being in Las Vegas 20, 25 years ago, that was true. As far as today, if it is here, if in fact it is here, I have never seen it. There may be hotels in town that do accept this. I don't know. I have no way of knowing. I don't want to know. It's none of my business. I make a living. That's all I'm concerned with. I don't harm no one. I don't want no one to harm me. As far as an element being here, if it's here, fine. If it's not here, fine too. What annoys me is when anyone says organized crime or where they use mafia, right away there is an Italian name hung onto it. Okay, fine. There may be Italians involved in it, but I'm sure there's others involved. Why always make out an Italian to be an animal? When it is someone says that to me, and they better have the door open when they say that to me, if they mean it, or even in jest. because I'm very proud of being an Italian. Very.
You hear that? He said if anybody told him anything degrading about his identity or his culture or who he is, they better have the door open, okay, to run, whether they said it in a joke or not. Let me tell you why the so-called black man and so-called African-American that are actually aboriginals don't have that pride. Is because they don't have anything to look forward to, because they were told that we came, okay, from slave ships, the bottom of slave ships. So we have nothing to look forward to, okay? And I'm saying they, there's a reason why I said they, because they taught us, and I'm going to keep, I'm reminding and telling you guys that, okay? They taught us a little bit different in the islands. In the islands, they didn't tell us we came from slave ships. They said we were Amerindians. They told us the truth. It's only when I started seeing that on TV, people calling themselves black and all these things, that was all new to me. And when I came into the United States, okay, African-American, black, all these things. So I'm here to educate my brothers and sisters from all over the Americas, okay? We have to be proud of who we are as the original Americans. Because you see, that was taken away from us. And we have to stand with that pride and defend that. We got to stop allowing people to call us black and African American. That's not our identity. We have to stop that. Why are you proud of something that you are not? Look at your skin. What part of your skin is black? It's foolish pride that makes you dead in law.
Proud of my heritage.
Let us not forget that the Italian American has been an asset to this country, that we built it with our backs brick by brick. We didn't steal it. We didn't burn it.
You heard what he said? Let that be a fact known that the Italian American came here and helped build America. He's talking about the United States with their hand, with their brick by brick. They didn't steal it, they earned it.
The Italians resent the view that other Americans have of them. They have formed anti-defamation leagues to guard their reputation. They've organized rallies demanding their acceptance as good Americans.
Boycott those who call us mafia. Hurt them in the pocketbook.
You hear that? Boycott those who call us mafia. Okay? Hurt them in their pockets. That's something that our people refuse to learn. Because no, as soon as you get a dollar, you go give it to somebody else. Because you don't like supporting your own. You see, all this was part of the civil rights. But nobody will tell you that. The civil rights started before the so-called African American. We were the last ones to adopt the concept of the civil rights. The civil rights started with the Italians. Well, not started, but it was about the Italians. It was about the Irish. It was about the Jews. It was about, the Scottish. It was about the people that are being called so-called white today. Okay? The civil rights was about them. It's only later in the 60s, it became about the so-called African American. Because guess what? When they were fighting for civil rights, we were free Negroes, aka American Indians. That's why I had to go and show you every other perspective before I bring this to you. Putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Now listen to this man again.
We didn't steal it. We didn't burn it.
The Italians resent the view that other Americans have of them. They have formed anti-defamation leagues to guard their reputation. They've organized rallies demanding their acceptance as good Americans.
Boycott those who call us mafia. Hurt them in the pocketbook. On July 4th, we will buy no newspapers. On July 5th, we will buy no newspapers at all. We urge your support. That's what's wrong. Everybody who wants to use us for a tool. Well, the comedian is done. The tool using is finished. And if you, the Italian Americans, do not band together and work for your Italian American brothers, then you deserve what you get.
You hear that? And he's absolutely right. He said, boycott them, hurt them in their pockets. Back then, newspapers was pretty much the only way people was getting news. Let us buy no newspapers. And if you Italian Americans cannot do that, you deserve exactly what you get. So I'm going to say it. Y'all so-called black people, African Americans, y'all deserve what y'all get. Yes, Chief Kalanago said it. Because everything that's happening to you, it's your fault. Because you refuse to change. You refuse to let it go and accept who you are. All we want to do is fight each other. That's what we want to do. And you have these fools for leaders that are misleading you down a rabbit hole into a burning building continuously every 4 years. Go vote for people that's going to continue to bury you. So don't blame the system. Blame yourself.
Deserve to stay at the bottom of the totem pole.
You heard what he said? If y'all cannot do it, y'all deserve to stay in the bottom of the totem pole.
This is not an anti-American crowd. This is Italians wanting their place under the sun.
You heard what he said? This is not an Italian anti-American. No. This is the Italians saying we want and deserve our place under the sun. But yet still, the American Aborigines in our own land, everybody's living the American dream, but we are the only ones living the nightmare. Think about that one. That is the end of that. That is the end of that. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So I just had to come bring that to y'all. Show you guys the truth from so many different perspectives. You heard about the natives, right? I'm talking about in the 1800s. He said what? Okay? They came up like 2-3 generations before my people. Okay? So don't let these natives fool you. They just got here. Okay? They just came here. They were put in our place. Those roles, the census, made us vanish on paper. So like I tell you, when they come at oh boy. All right, family, listen. They do it every single time. Every time. Okay? Every single time. My entire computer shut down. Every time. Every time, family. Every time. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm just dropping too much of that truth. You see what I'm saying? Too much of that. But anyway, let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat real quick. Type 1 real quick. Type 1 in the chat. I want to make sure we're good because I'm about to conclude this. All right? So we back. All right, cool. We back. So listen, they always do that. But it's all right, though, because they cannot stop the truth from being put out there. You see what I'm saying, family? Because guess what? There's no way to stop it. There's no way to stop it. It's time for it's our time. You see what I'm saying? It is time for the American Aborigines to shine. Our ancestors are in uproar. They're upset. I'm telling y'all, the energy is coming. And it's coming through me. I promise you that. And a lot of us are going to feel the wave of our people waking up all over the Americas. Watch. Mark my words. All right? I'm just a vessel. I'm just a messenger. That's it. It's really that simple. So if we, as a people, we have to go back into the annals of history and look. That's why I had to bring this. You feel me? So you could see the different perspectives and know that everybody that's living the dream right now, they were not always living the dream. They were considered worse than us. Okay, but they stood and they fought. They didn't allow people to disrespect their men, their women and children. They didn't do that. All right? So once again, what's happening to us is our fault to a huge extent. We cannot just blame it on the system. No. I literally get, I'm talking about, I get no less than 50 friend requests on Facebook every single day. All right? And there are different ethnic groups that send friend requests, but I would say 95 to 98% is people that look like me. And I take a scroll down their page, and literally over 97% of them, if not all, they have their picture and encircled in the words Black Lives Matter. You see, you have already accepted the curse. You have already accepted it. And I hope the ancestors brought you to me so you could change that mindset. Make a paradigm shift in your thinking and know that that's not what you are. That's not who we are. You feel me? And with your picture, I would like you to surround it with American Aborigines or original American or original indigenous American. Give our ancestors the honor, the respect of what they deserve. Because they died, because they didn't want to be called black. That was forced on us. It is really that simple. So I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not mad at anyone for the miseducation. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad because you were misled. But when you know the truth, for crying out loud, have some respect for the people that came before us. Give them the proper respect. And stop calling yourself something that don't even exist. Come on. Family, this is ours. This is our birthright. We are the natural custodians. And I'm not saying we have to hate people. I'm not saying that. I would prefer if there would, I mean, if there won't be a physical war. I would appreciate that. Even if that's the way it started. I hope it doesn't have to come to that. But if that's the way it has to be, then our ancestors will let it be. Because there's nothing they could do to stop us from reclaiming our birthright. Nothing they could do. And remember, every skinfolk and kinfolk. So move in the spirit. Yes, you will be ridiculed. You will be made fun of. You will be threatened. It's okay. Just remember that you are not the flesh. And you have already won. We are already victorious. And right now, even as I speak, my ancestors are rejoicing. It's really that simple. So for all those of you who hear this video or see this information, do yourself a favor. Go give your ancestors the proper respect and take off this caption of this Black Lives Matter stuff. Lift yourself out of this curse. So one day soon, we will be considered to be one of the people. Because right now we are not. Okay? What you have to realize is this. No one is going anywhere. No immigrant that's here, they're not going anywhere. Okay? They're already here. That's the way it was supposed to be. That's the way it was supposed to manifest. We cannot take that back. There's no coincidences. There's no accidents. Everything that's a coincidence, it happened because it was supposed to be an incident. That's what a coincident is. With incident, because co means with. A co-pilot, that means you're with me. A co-host, that means you're with me. So coincident means that it was supposed to happen with incident. So it was supposed to happen. But it doesn't mean that we cannot stand up and reclaim our birthright and get the respect as the American Aborigines in our land. It doesn't mean that. And we don't have to throw blows if they want to be honorable. But if they choose not to be honorable, I promise you, they have never won a physical war against the wild Indians. And it will not start right. And it will not start now. I guarantee you that. Because they know what kind of blood and energy we got going through us. They know. That's why they have to keep our people dumb. Okay? Miseducated. Drunk. Okay? Be in a religious coma. Oh, that's part of the game. Now, they're giving them what is called synthetic weed. Well, you know what? Let me take the natural plants from you and make it illegal. Send all your people to jail. And then we're going to make it legal, but we're going to tell you which type is legal. So now everybody in a video, to me, that's not impressive. You call yourself conscious and spiritually inclined, but every video you're smoking your lungs out, smoking your system out. Our ancestors didn't smoke like that. They smoked through ceremonies, for rituals and treaties. It wasn't for hobby or just to show off. Oh, well, it's legal now. I could just do it. See, a lot of old people, man, you lost the culture, man. That's why I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do none of that. It doesn't mean I have anything against it. I just don't do it. And if I were to ever to smoke or drink, it would have to be the natural stuff, the good stuff. And I would probably drink it more than I smoke it. Our ancestors didn't just sit around and smoke tobacco just because tobacco was there. No. And let me tell y'all something about our ancestors as well. The reason why they didn't want to just smoke as recreation, because the smoke had spirit. Okay? We saw God, or what we call the Great Spirit, in everything. So even in the smoke, okay? Even in the smoke that we let off through the tobacco or through the plants, okay? That was done through ritual, and the smoke would go into the heavens to form clouds and bring down what you may call blessings, but they're not blessings, they're gifts, okay, from the heavenly realms. So the smoke was sent up through rituals. It wasn't just puffing, puff, puff, pass. No, man. Woo. Man, I'll tell you, boy, if I was a Christian, I would have been like, every video I would have been like, Jesus, take the wheel. Woo. My people. I'm telling y'all. But I'm not going to ask Jesus to take the wheel, because he took the wheel and he enslaved my people. So he's not responsible for freeing us. Okay? So I'm not going to ask him to take the wheel. But man, this is crazy. This is crazy. But anyway, family, I'm going to conclude this video. And I'm going to, I had another huge salad today. I made a bigger one, okay, because I hadn't eaten anything all day. That's what I do, right? I fast pretty much. I mean, we fast every day, all right? A lot of people think, you know, fasting is just about, you know, you have to go long, like days and days and days and starve yourself. No, I mean, when you are in a state of rest, okay, that is fasting, okay? When you're in a state of rest, you are fasting the physical body and you are awakening, okay, the spiritual I am, okay, when you go to rest, not sleep, okay, because you don't go to sleep at all right? But when you rest, you go into a state of meditation, all right, physical meditation, all right, the spiritual man or woman awakens, all right? So that's the fast for the physical body. So I do that all night, of course, because I'm resting, and then at sunrise, you know, I may drink a little bit of water, all right, but all day I don't eat, okay? I just allow, you know, the prana, the spirit, you see what I'm saying, to feed the body. So I talk to my higher self. Teach me how to be like you. Protect me. I talk to my ancestors all day. Then right before I do my videos, I know that there are a lot of vampire energies out there, okay? A lot of people coming with negative energy, so I load myself with the greens. With a heavy salad, all right? And before I eat my salad, I talk to my food, okay? Be a nourishment to my body, cleanse my body, detox my body. I talk to my food because it's energy. You see what I'm saying? And then I eat my huge salad and I drink some spring water, natural spring water. That's it. I do not own a stove because I am going through, again, I'm going back through a few initiations. So I don't want the temptation. You feel me? Sometimes, you know, maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, depends. I might get me some wild salmon, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. You feel me? Or some fried fish or something. You know what I mean? But all during, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, okay? Nothing but greens, natural foods, okay? I own one fork. I own one knife. I don't even own a plate. You see the thing that I show you guys that I show in the video I got my salad in? That's what I own. Because I'm going through another initiation. An initiation of discipline. Because I have some things that I have to download and get because I have a purpose to serve. So I'm awakening my disciples right now. Each and every one of us, we have 12 disciples, or what they call 12 faculties in our mind. So I'm speaking to them, awakening them. I'm back on my grind right now. I'm back at it because my disciples, they kind of got dormant for a minute because I took a break. So now I have to feed them and now teach them how to be fishers of men. You see, all that stuff is internal. You feel me? So I just want y'all to know I love y'all. All right. And I'm not coming here with any malice to anybody or any hatred to anybody. But me telling the truth of my ancestors and honoring them should not make you get so violent as to attack me because I'm telling my truth. Okay? So that's that. So I'm about to conclude this video, and I'm going to take maybe a 10-minute break, and I'm going to set up to do another video, and we're going to talk a little bit about the prison system. All right? And we're going to talk a little bit about the statistics of police killings. It's not going to be a long video, but I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to take a 10-15 minute break, drink a little bit of water, and possibly take a walk, exercise, just free up the legs a little bit. And then in about 15 minutes, I will do another video and we'll talk about that. All right. So I will talk to you guys in a few. Guys, don't forget to go to the website, www.ipnan.org. And please don't support on YouTube because, YouTube is bugging right now, but go to the website. If you feel to support, I have the link there to give donations. So by all means, feel free to support. All right. You guys take care of yourself. I'm sending much love and positive energy to each and every one of you. And thank you to all those of you that's hit me up on Facebook, from all over the world. I'm talking about Taiwan. I'm talking about Australia. I'm talking about Germany. Everybody and saying, Chief, man, you know what? Thank you for telling the truth. Like, people know. People know. They come into my inbox and they say, listen, I love your energy. Thank you for speaking the truth. And somebody even told me, I'm so happy to see an original native speaking the truth. They know. I'm getting hit up from indigenous brothers and sisters in Suriname, Jamaica, all over the Americas and out of the Americas. They hit me up. Keep it up. Don't stop. Tell the truth. So I will not stop because it's our time and our ancestors deserve the honor. And I'm doing that on their behalf. Okay, so I'll see you guys in about 15 minutes. Thank you.